Welcome back, everyone, to some entertainment banter. My name is Joel.
And I'm Matt.
Today, we're going to talk about anime, Japanimation, anime from afar, where the sun sets. Wait, sunrise. Where the sun rises. The land of the rising sun. But we're going to talk about its evolution in America.
In America.
Yeah.
Alright, so you want to start or do you want me to start?
I don't know. I think we should just banter on.
Alright, let's start bantering. If you're drinking, that's already 3 shots.
That would
anyways, be, huh? Yeah, 3 shots every time you hear the word Banter. So anyways, anime. Well, let me tell you something funny about anime from my end. I didn't realize I was watching anime when I was a child. Believe it or not, some old I'll start with some old Bible shows that were animated, like Superbook or Flying House.
What?
Superbook, like Superman, but it's a book.
That's not an anime. House,
yes, it is. It's anime style. And then,
but was it American made?
Well, it was in English. Yeah, it was. It was all biblical stories. But then, obviously, I grew up watching Voltron, the original series, and Robotech, and Battleship Yamato, and even Speed Racer, and maybe even what's the other? They just made a movie of it a couple of years ago. Astro Boy, you know.
Oh my God!
All those were all shows that were aired in America, but didn't realize they were anime until way later when I was grown up.
It's funny how that is. Well, no, I started like Dragon Ball Z, I think, and Robotech and Voltron were like my original animes. Dragon Ball Z was on KCET, Channel 13, where I lived.
Okay, so it was before like Toonami on Cartoon Network.
Well, they dubbed Funimation, I believe. Was it Funimation still? I believe so.
Was it Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
No, it was Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball was very short too. So like Dragon Ball Z, I used to watch when I was in elementary school because it was on KCT, and they only had the 53 episodes. You know, those famous 53 episodes they kept going through. Actually, in Japan, it was 63, I think, because they cut 10 episodes out. And I used to do, like, you know, when kids would play Cowboys and Indians out in the yard, I used to play Goku and Kamehamehas when I was younger. And then as I grew up, I watched Voltron 2 and what was the other one I said? Robotech, which is Macross in Japanese. For whatever reason, they changed the name. But those faded away from me. I don't really have that much memory. I used to have the toys. I remember having the toys, but I don't remember having too much memory of them. But Dragon Ball Z stuck really well. And then when I hit into middle school years, I ended up watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami, thinking like, oh my God, we're going to go past this episode 53, you know?
Right.
We're going to finally get past it. And of course, every time it hit 53, it repeated. It repeated. And I remember my brothers getting Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball was only dubbed up to episode 13, I think, to be honest.
Wow.
It didn't have that many episodes out here at first. So, for Dragon Ball, I feel like Dragon Ball Z, for me, was the gateway into anime.
I would agree with that. Other than, like I said, other than the shows that I didn't know were anime.
Yeah. I was never I'm not really that into Japanimation. I mean, I do like certain shows, but I'm not like, I have to go see this and this and this and this. I have certain shows I picked out, but I won't watch certain shows.
Right. Yeah, you're dating me. I think Cartoon Network, the birth of Cartoon Network, I was in college, and I remember watching Dragon Ball Z on that, but at the time, I didn't understand it. I just saw a bunch of flashing, and like, 5 minutes lasted 20 episodes, and especially the fight with Frieza.
Oh my God.
I actually hated it.
So you actually started watching it when they got to Frieza?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But what was interesting, though, is I refused to not watch it. Like, I wanted to understand why people liked it. And so over time, it actually did grow on me, and now I love it. I do understand it. But
So
Cartoon Network's...
you never went
Oh,
through
go
the
ahead.
pain of the episodes repeating, did you?
No. I mean, I would just periodically catch
You
it.
piece of shit. I went through so many cycles of that because they would air it, Monday through Friday.
And you missed all the Frieza stuff?
No, it's just because they kept doing it, and then finally it got really Toonami got it really popular.
Right.
And finally, they worked out some with Funimation, and they started dubbing the rest of the episodes because there's 224, no, 260, 200 something episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to do it because it wasn't popular, and all of a sudden it just took off. I mean, Goku went through like 4 different voices.
That's true.
Vegeta went through a ton of voices. I mean, until Dragon Ball Z Kai, you had all these different voices doing it, and
well, the final English dub before Kai, they did have all the same actors throughout.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were the finishing
But it's
guys.
interesting. So are you saying that Cartoon Network's Toonami is the whole reason why we were able to get all of them dubbed?
I think that from the evolution of anime out here, I feel like it was just a cartoon. People were bringing small cartoons out here. No one thought the wiser about it. But then Toonami started doing their little action series, action picks.
Little block. Yep.
Yeah, their little block of time each day. I mean, two things would be anime, and then the rest would be their shows and stuff.
Right.
But then it just took off, and I feel like Toonami has a hand in helping that get out here because I used to go to Comic-Con, since I was 9 years old. I mean, I'm in my 30s now, so I've been going there before they expanded it, before it got really popular. I was going to Comic-Con when nerds were still fucking nerds. Now it's like a thing, and like everyone can be a nerd or whatever. It's a cool thing to do, but I was doing it when, jocks were still giving us wedgies and everything. So
that's hysterical.
So when I would go, it was really rare seeing anime stuff there. It was there, but it wasn't as popular as it is now, and cosplay was not a thing.
Right.
So it's just interesting to watch. Every year, it got more and more and more, and more of the hardcore stuff. I remember signing petitions to get an all-anime channel, and petitions and panels where Cartoon Network would ask questions like, if we got more anime, would you guys be interested, and all that.
Right.
So that also helps spark Adult Swim, by the way.
It sounds like Cartoon Network really was the jumping platform to getting it here.
I feel like it did.
Because I remember, I didn't know Gundam. I watched Gundam on Cartoon Network.
They brought Gundam Wing, one of the worst series ever.
Trying to think what else is that. Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop was a really good
Outlaw
one.
Star.
Outlaw Star I never watched. They did Inuyasha.
Yep, they did. They did Sailor Moon, obviously. They did, what was it? The Tenchi.
Tenchi Budokai? Or no.
Thank you.
Tenchi Muyo, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They did. They started doing a lot of, and then they started obscure things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what was nice about it was, Ronin. I actually liked that.
Ronin.
Ronin Warriors or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then I liked the Conan detective story too. Yeah, that guy. Or Lupin.
Lupin, yep.
Yeah.
Lupin, yep.
So they started bringing out a whole array of different shows.
Yeah, they did. They really did. It's interesting. And now, you were mentioning Comic-Con, and it reminded me, there's anime cons now.
Oh, they were going around. They were going around at the same time when we really got into Dragon Ball Z, and they finally started dubbing more episodes. By the way, before all that, we were getting sick of watching Dragon Ball Z reruns, so I actually started doing my own fans. I didn't do my own fan subbing, but I started buying fan subs, so I was able to watch all the movies. And my friend and I started watching on the Japanese network, non-subtitled, non-dubbed Dragon Ball Z. Wow. That aired once a week. Brand new episodes of Dragon Ball Z. Or not brand new, but new for us.
Right. For us it was.
And it was so difficult to watch, the Frieza fight in just pure Japanese. But during that time, I think I was 14 or 15 at the time, there were anime expos going on, and they were really, really small. I remember going to the LA Shrine and going to an anime expo. They did it once a month, and it was just a small, people, it was almost like a swap meet for anime.
Okay.
and I remember getting. I mean, it was so interesting. Like, if I could get what I could get now from when I was a kid, I'd have so much more shit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It was so hard to get things. Like, it's just
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely, and it was really expensive.
It
If
was.
you were lucky enough to get it.
And Little Tokyo had stuff, but it was just like so niche and small. And I remember used to driving out to the valley with my mom to go to this store called Anime Plus. I think was the store. It was
Mhm.
the only store within like 100-mile radius that was selling like Gundams and all that shit.
Right, right,
It's
right.
just amazing now that how many people you can get it so easily.
Well, and it's funny too because a lot of the box sets before, so even when the anime started to get popular in the U.S., the box sets were still really expensive. The only way you could really get the series for the most part was to buy the box sets.
It's
but
true.
now, companies like Netflix, they're actually pumping out a bunch of anime.
They produce it now. Like they not, I mean, they don't produce it, but they dub it and do all of that. And they almost do a lot of the shows now. When they record it in Japanese, they have the voice actors for English standing by to do the English.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it seems to be like not going anywhere. Like now, it's hand in hand. You know, if we're gonna do an anime show, it's gonna have an English dub immediately.
Oh, immediately, and it's like it's part of our culture now. It really is.
Yeah. So where do you think? Because let's step forward. We're gonna pass Toonami, and we were talking about it before. But then there's shows like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, I'm assuming those are all anime based as well.
They
card
are
playing games.
Yes.
So, but they're like a little bit different in the sense that they kind of came out with regular broadcast networks before they got rid of Saturday morning cartoons and all that stuff.
Yeah. So Pokemon. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I think got more popular because of the games they represented. Like kids would play Pokemon. I remember playing Pokemon, but I didn't understand why they kept releasing new games. It was all the same game, just with different Pokemon.
Right.
So it was really interesting to see Pokemon evolve that way. The TV show was mediocre, but it was the game that kept it going. I mean, Nintendo did great making Pokemon. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the same way. It's a card game, and people played the card game, and you would go to tournaments and play cards.
Well, Pokemon, wasn't that cards as well?
What was?
Pokemon, wasn't that cards as well?
It could have been, yeah, it was cards as well, too. So it was just like, it was like a children's game, Magic the Gathering, almost.
Right, exactly.
But it was still the same age people playing both.
Sure. Well, it's interesting. So in that aspect, too, that's how anime got more popular in the United States. And then what I've noticed is, especially channels like Nickelodeon, they're definitely influenced by anime because if you notice now, a lot of the shows that they produce have a lot of anime feel. They had, what was it, Avatar and Legends of Korra, and then they have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show that they do. They do a lot of anime style artwork that you see in manga.
You can see a lot of influence in that in American artists right now. You definitely can. We were watching the original Gundam series, 0079. It came out in 1979. And the animation in that was already decades beyond what we would
absolutely.
Draw. And absolutely. What really drew me to the anime, not only did the art style bring it to me, but it was like the first cartoon that you would watch that one episode didn't just start a new thing. It was a sitcom. Or a soap opera, if you will.
A soap opera, right. It continued
the story. Like the whole series or the season was a storyline.
That's right.
And it was from start to end. It wasn't like Family Guy or Simpsons where you just watch the episode and you watch that, or Seinfeld. It carried it on.
Right.
Like every episode was to be continued.
Absolutely.
So that really draws you in.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And that was the style that anime brought to the United States, at least in cartoon fashion, for sure. I mean, Robotech was like that, like I said. Battleship Yamato was like that. Voltron a little bit, but that was kind of hit or miss.
Dragon Ball Z big time like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, with saying that, do you think that TV shows nowadays all go like that? Like you watch like Netflix original series or any kind of TV show like Walking Dead.
I absolutely.
Do you think anime influenced that to continue like soap opera-esque? Because when you heard soap opera, you would think of like not Married with Children. Whatever TV Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday mornings, your mom, when they're cleaning the
Right,
house, they would watch this soap opera or whatever.
right.
All My
Soap operas,
Children is one of them. So you're
General
like, oh, that's
Hospital,
so
all
boring.
that stuff.
Yeah. So do
Yep.
you think like anime helped influence like that more people would be willing to watch shows like that would carry on the whole season is or the whole series is one big story? Like you're
You
almost taking a
know,
movie and making it into this really long epic. Hate
yeah,
that word.
that's a good question. I will say this: the shows that have good established characters that they don't, they don't ignore their Bible that they create. So when, for example, as characters are created and plots develop, they don't ignore those plots and they build upon those plots. Because you mentioned Seinfeld, but honestly, Seinfeld
Yeah,
is another one of those examples where they had recurring characters like the Soup Nazi, or
they did.
and they keep building and building and building off the story arcs. So I think shows that are successful tend to they don't ignore what they've created; they build upon it. With this day and age of binge watching, I think it's real easy for people to get attached to shows that have a continuing story arc as opposed to shows that don't. Because like you said, it's a one and done. It's good 20-minute show or something, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people they usually like to sit down nowadays and just continue watching this epic storyline unfold. Like you said, Walking Dead or
Yeah,
Game of Thrones, things like that. They just can't wait to see what happens next. So
it's true.
I don't know if it's based on anime, but anime definitely is a big influence towards it for sure. I would think because, like you said, those are the ones that are they're such a there's such a continuing story arc that sometimes they can't keep up with the manga, so they have to create the story
Yeah,
to wait for the story to finish. Does that make sense?
yeah. No, that's why Dragon Ball Z went the way it did, and then Dragon Ball GT happened, and that was totally off book. And of course, now they're trying to erase that.
Well, that'll be funny too. As terrible as that show is, it secretly is going to be like the equivalent to the Star Wars Holiday Special, where people are just going to want to watch it for the hell of it. They know
Yeah,
it's awful, they know it's terrible, but
it'll become like an urban classic, whatever you
it's
call
going
it.
to be a cult classic
Cult
kind of thing.
classic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. But we were talking about we got to like Nickelodeon
Oh,
and
like the
how they're
animation
influenced.
styles.
Yeah, the animation styles that are changing. But
Did
I
you?
wanted to mention too. It's interesting. I know you don't want me to talk about Hasbro much, so I won't. But I will say there was a show, an anime show called. Oh crap! I just blanked on it. But it was in America. It was GoBots, and Hanna Barbera picked it up.
Go bots.
Yes, but Machine Robo. That's what it was called. In Japan, it was called Machine Robo. Completely different story arc, same toy line, but completely different story arc. Way cooler characters, and it shows the testament to anime versus like sometimes what Americans will do with an anime product, if that makes any sense.
Change it for what they want.
Oh, two different
I
shows
mean, you can
completely.
change the whole storyline just dubbing some different words in.
Well, it was, but what I'm saying is the American version was done by Hanna Barbera, so it looks like Scooby Doo, and I'm saying like the same exact characters were done in Machine Robo, and they look amazing. It's just and the story is badass, and it's just interesting how like that's a perfect example, in my opinion, of an American version and like an anime version that was truly done American or anime style. Same exact
Anime
characters,
style.
completely different stuff. Yeah.
So going back to the animation style, like the art style, and how it
Yes.
influenced out here. If you watch, there are a few shows like Marvel shows
Yes.
that they definitely follow an anime style look. Even Batman Beyond and even like DC cartoons started taking that style look.
Mm.
If you ever watch
Okay.
it, it's interesting. If you watch, they actually did a X-Men anime,
Yes.
totally anime style, like about Wolverine's story. I want to
Yes.
go watch it actually, and it was really good.
They actually
Looking
did a
at least, I
couple.
haven't seen
They
it yet.
did. They did an X-Men one, a Wolverine one, and an Iron Man one,
Yeah.
and Blade too.
So I mean, it's more of like I think anime is more of like a realistic style of drawing, as we thought in America that when you drew a cartoon, it was supposed to be out of the not relate to physical attributes, but to exaggerate on it. So when you got like cartoons like Hey Arnold and the guy had a football head, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Rocco's Modern Life, they don't even look like people. They're animals. Like it was like they didn't try to make them look like people because they thought no one wanted to see that. And anime brought in like people want to see how people can look really cool. Like
Right.
that's what I think when you watch like Goku or Wolverine in that anime style movie. Like he just looks so drawn and so detailed. It
Right.
just makes you like want to watch it more.
Well, and I think you kind of hit a good point too. Anime is so diverse. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just the way you mentioned that just now, Goku versus Wolverine. I mean, if you were to look at those two pieces of artwork alone, you would recognize right away that they look completely different in style, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, but it's like bringing the comic book to life, I think, because you would see that in a comic book because they can spend a longer time on one page of a comic book rather than a whole like animation sequence. There's a
Right.
lot
No,
more
I
work
understand.
involved.
Right, I understand. But what I'm saying is, like, if, for example, if you take Ash from Pokemon and
Yeah.
put him up next to that Wolverine,
Oh,
the artwork is completely
be night
different,
and
but at the
day.
same time, it's still anime.
Yeah. Well, you
You know
can
what I
still
mean?
see similarities. Like there are still. It's like the. I feel like Japanimation has taken that extra step into detail that we never
Yes.
did before. Now we do. We for sure do now. Like it's hard to
Yeah.
tell like what was an anime and what is anime unless you know for a fact it was. Unless you know that was imported and it was in Japan. Some shows I'm sure parents are like, "Oh, that's from Japan."
Right.
So,
Right.
th-
Well,
but back in the day,
the
we didn't take that extra step unless it was a comic book.
well, one of my favorite movies of all time is Transformers the movie, and it's
Why are you a Transformer whore?
the animated movie, and it's so beautifully drawn. I mean, and this is all hand drawn, like pencil, everything. And the opening scene where Unicron eats the planet is amazing. How detailed it is, and the lighting that they choose, and the shadow work that they choose to do, like is I think that's what impresses me about anime. If you watch them, they
Shadowing's
focus
amazing.
on lighting a lot,
Yeah.
and detail work. Um, I know we're probably running short on time, but I want to talk to you, for example, because I'm not a huge anime fan. When it gets a little too, maybe you have a better word to describe it, but when the artwork is extreme, like extra veins, very narrow pupils,
Yeah.
crazy smiles and teeth, when it gets to that intensity, when they're really trying to hit home that the emotion, but they go to that over exaggerated look. I mean, that's where I kind of lose interest. But I mean, there are a lot of great works out there. I know you like Berserk and a couple
Yeah.
other things. I know. I'm guessing. Full Metal Jacket or not
Full Metal
Jacket, but
Alchemist,
Alchemist.
you garbage.
Yeah,
But Full Metal Jacket's another one. Is that a movie?
that's a movie. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, Alchemist is the one I was thinking of. But there's a lot of others that go to that extreme. Even the movie Akira
Yeah.
kind of does that
Or Ghost in the
extreme.
Shell.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
so what do you
So,
huh?
I was just gonna say, what do you think about them going to those extremes? Like, because obviously Dragon Ball Z, they yell a lot, but they don't do that weird extreme work. You know what I mean?
It depends on the situation. It depends on the show we're watching if the extreme work is needed or necessary to portray their point.
Do you
So
feel like it's overkill sometimes?
it can be, but sometimes you feel like it needs it. Sometimes even like certain music during it needs it too, and sometimes you don't have it. I mean, the joke is in anime, there's always extra things going on. Like, well, no matter what, you have a cape, wind will be hitting it in just the right moment, and
Right.
Anything explodes in anime, and paper or your hair is always gonna look good.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So,
Well, the ladies always look fine, and they're
and
always
the
in their
ladies
schoolgirl
always look
outfits.
fine.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about anime that annoys me, and a guilty party of this, I don't know if you ever watched it, was Pat Labor. Um, I hate it when they. It's called. I forget what the artists call it, but basically, it's like a miles by line, so to speak. What that means is like if you were to map out how many miles a person would draw, it's the amount of detail work in each piece of artwork or each frame. So that's why, like you were talking about, hey Arnold, those lines per mile are a lot smaller because they're real generic, basic football shapes and stuff. They're not detailed work like Wolverine's veins and everything in his hair. But if you notice, sometimes they'll do that annoying thing where they'll show the character's back, and they'll be talking to someone in the foreground, but you don't see them talking. You just hear them talking. So the image on the screen doesn't change, but they talk for like 5 minutes. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like they're saving animation time by not having to draw it, because all they do is got the character's back turned and they're talking for like 5 minutes, and so you know what I mean. It's like a cop out in animation. Does that make any sense? That's something about anime that has always bothered me. Like the drawing that they place is beautiful, but it's almost like they didn't want to draw anymore, so they just let the guy keep his back to camera, so to speak, and just talk for a few minutes.
Well, they got to save money somewhere.
Yeah, but do you like that kind of stuff in anime? Like, I mean, you don't get annoyed by watching that?
It depends. I mean, I feel like the first time I watch it, I go with it. But if I watch it again, I'm like, why? Like, I mean, you appreciate like the scenes where they just drag out sometimes. Like you were saying, like in Dragon Ball Z, like the little parts where they show the calmness and all that. And I sometimes think that's
but
boring
the water's
too.
moving
filler.
and the deer are moving in those scenes. I'm talking about a scene where, like, a lot of times they're sitting in front of a TV or a computer, and there some techies saying, "Oh, we got to analyze this or analyze that," but they don't really show anything.
I don't think I've ever seen that really that much. Maybe I have. I mean,
it may not go on for 5 minutes, but it's definitely like a few seconds. If anything, maybe they do like a camera pan, but the image doesn't change. Does that make sense?
Does that bother you?
Like it might be a slow camera rise.
It bothers you?
It bothers me, yeah. It's kind of boring to watch.
Well, I hate filler episodes in anime. That's a famous thing they do all the time. So like you mentioned earlier, I'm gonna bring it back up. Is that they catch up to the manga, the comic book, and they're out of storyline, so they have to create. So generally, the creator doesn't want to go past and further the storyline. So you get 15 to 20 episodes of filler. Yeah, like bullshit episodes.
Well, so that's kind of weird
I hate
too.
filler episodes.
Yeah, that's weird too, though, because I don't know. It's kind of a lame excuse, but like, or example. But let's say you want to collect all 4 Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
And you go to a store. The only way it works is if you find all 4 in the store. Because if you just buy the one, you still have to hunt for the other 3, and you might find 1 or 2 periodically. But it's easier just to buy all of them at once, right?
Okay.
So my thing is, like, when they do manga and they do anime shows, I don't understand why they just can't wait for that creator to be done with it and then say, like, once it's completed, then they just throw it out there.
That's not how they work. I mean, some of them want to get it out right away, or they think there's enough manga already in place, so they don't. So they catch up and they go, "Crap, we caught up."
How many shows did you say that the manga never finished, and so the animated show just ends abruptly?
Inuyasha's one of them. She just decided. Yeah. The artist is a girl, and she decided, "I'm done." And literally, the show kept going on and on and on, and then it just stops. There's no ending to it that I'm aware of. It. I may be wrong. Put in the comment section if we are wrong. We don't claim to know everything.
We're just bantering, guys.
But yeah, I mean, there is only one anime I know of that followed the manga precisely and never went past it, and that was Initial D. It's a car anime, and then they would go seasons without anything, or a year or two without anything, because they let the manga catch up.
Wow.
So they did that a lot. So it would be like...
I mean, I'm familiar with it. I didn't watch the show. Based on a fan base perspective, were they cool with that? I mean, it seemed to work, or no?
It seemed to work. I mean, it finished, and it's still very popular. It's a very great car anime. People buy cars and decorate them just like that. I mean, it still has a good, strong fan base. The music is what sold it, really, because it's a lot of J-pop and techno music. So
Gotcha.
yeah. All
Cool.
right. We
Well,
are
do you have any final thoughts?
I want to end this with not final thoughts. Let's do something a little different. I want to ask you, what do you think the future? I'm going to say my thoughts on it, but what do you think the future of anime has? Because my thought is they are going the route of like comic books now. They're making them to live action. Because
Right.
if you go watch what they just did, they did Ghost in the Shell recently.
Yep.
Full Metal Alchemist is getting a live action show.
Yep.
Rurouni Kenshin got 3 live action movies.
Really?
Yeah, they're not American and they're not dubbed, but they're actually really good. They did the whole first 60 episodes of the anime into 3 movies.
You're
And
gonna cringe, but they did Dragon Ball.
they did do Dragon Ball Evolution. No one talks about that, you piece of shit. There is still talks about them doing it. Still, there is a
A new Dragon Ball?
to do yeah. There's a YouTube company called Red Dog Underdog, I think, and they
Okay.
did Light of Hope, and they did a 11-minute short of Trunks, future Trunks, and Gohan.
Right.
A acquaintance of mine, a friend of mine, played Gohan.
Yep.
And it was really good.
Yeah, I did see that.
So people are it's still in the mix. Dragon Ball Z is very much possibly going to have a live action film soon, a good one. So
would you consider Power Rangers anime?
Esque, but not anime, no.
But did it originate from them?
It was
right?
Japanimation. It was a Japan TV show. It wasn't a anime.
It was.
You're
away.
so Matt's on video phone. He just broke up right there. If everyone's lost that, I don't know what he just said after Power Rangers.
That's okay.
It's okay. You don't have any thoughts. So what would you be your thoughts on future anime? I mean, Cowboy Bebop's going to be made into a TV show. Keanu Reeves may still play Spike. So, like, what do you think? What do you think is the future of anime evolving out here? Do you think it's just going to fully adapt? What do you think?
Well, I think it already has adapted. I think Netflix is a prime example of that. They've created some original shows already. One thing I've noticed about the anime, though, based on some of the shows that I've been watching recently, I mean, granted, they're not all. I think the massive storyline anime might be coming to an end. I think there's a lot of 30 episode story arcs kind of thing. I think that's what's happening now. I think that's maybe people, because attention spans, unfortunately, in America are shrinking with millennial generations and whatnot. So they are continuing story arcs, but I feel like they're only lasting maybe 26, 36, episodes, and that's about it.
Well, I mean, Dragon Ball Super is still being made, and they just hit 100.
But to be fair, that was a show that was well established. But I'm trying to think of, like, I watched there's a lot of anime I've been watching on Netflix, but I can't think of a single one right. Bubblegum Crisis was a short-lived show.
But that's an old show. It's not new.
Right. But I guess, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, what
the
about,
average the average anime was only 26 episodes.
Okay. So that's normal then.
Yeah, the long series ones are abnormal, like Bleach, Inuyasha, Rurouni Kenshin, Dragon Ball Z.
You know, we didn't even mention was Naruto. I haven't even watched all that.
Naruto. I think they're still doing that one.
Yeah, that seems to be going on like forever. One Piece was another one seems to be going on forever.
I mean, I'm not seeing any new ones coming out. That's for sure. That last that long.
So maybe Netflix is the most recent new. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even know what new is these days.
I don't.
It seems to be like Transformers, where they just reboot a lot of Gundam. Like there seems to be new Gundam shows.
I haven't gone into anything new really. I've been watching real old stuff like Dragon Ball Z is now Dragon Ball Super. Berserk is being not re-released, but extending past the anime now, which is really great with the movies and the new TV show. And then Kenshin I watched because of the live action movies, and then Full Metal Alchemist will be the new live action movie. So I'm like still watching the same shows.
Right.
They just keep they're popular, so they keep adding like a new movie or something new to watch.
Right.
So I never really gotten into new anime yet. So
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, it's definitely an American. It's here to stay. I think it's part of our culture now. That's for sure.
it ain't going anywhere.
No, not at all. So that's good.
So that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. On that note, I'm Matt.
And I'm Joel. I'm done.
If you thought that was funny, go take out the trash for your mom and come back and watch the next one.